Welcome to All Wrestling Talk Nation with CW. Tonight we're on Indie Superstar Spotlight. Just Legend. Now, here we go! What's going on, everybody? This is All Wrestle Talk Nation. Tonight is Indie Superstar Spotlight on the 18th of January. This is my guest, Mr. Justin Legend. Thank you so much, man, for coming on to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
I know it's a cold day out here in Georgia, so it tends to happen where we just gotta go, okay, let's do this.
Yep.
So basically, this show is basically all about, talking about, your journey, your stories. So basically, number one question, and to everyone's wonder, why did you want to be a part of indie wrestling? What got you to want to be a part of this wonderful business?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. It all goes back a really long time. I guess, I probably went to my first wrestling show when I was about 4 years old.
Okay.
Growing up in Atlanta, big wrestling town.
Yeah.
I come from a family full of wrestling fans.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad, whether or not it was a good idea, I don't know. But my dad used to take me to old NWA shows before it became known as WCW.
Yeah.
I have vague memories of some shows that I went to, some of the old NWA TV tapings at Turner Studios, actually with my grandma.
Yeah, okay.
And, but the first real vivid memory I have of a show was Thanksgiving 1986.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and my uncle took me to the Omni. And that was Starrcade 86.
All right.
Night of the Skywalkers.
Oh, yes.
Scaffold match with Road Warriors and Midnight Express, and that was the night that Jim Cornette took the plunge. And something about that, vividly, I can remember, and it was burned into my consciousness. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be a part of. And, as life went on, just became a bigger and bigger fan. Every Saturday night. Starting at 6:05, I was watching NWA. And then
for 2 hours.
For those of us that grew up in this area, we had kind of a smaller, lower budget channel. It was channel 69 at the time.
Blackstone,
Bonnie Blackstone, Joe Pedicino.
Yes.
And as long as I was up for Sunday school the next morning, they would let me watch it. Because it was on until about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, I know.
And you would see everything from WWF to
Texas
local,
wrestling,
yes, and
Georgia,
down to local Georgia stuff, and it just stuck with me, man, and it was something that I always wanted to be a part of. I wasn't really sure how to go about doing that, and luckily I had the chance.
You're the one the last time breathe, because I'm telling you, I look at people, I go, man, I remember Saturday Night Wrestling, which you just said, 6:05, 8:05, and then I put it on channel UPN to watch Bonnie Blackstone and Joe Pesci, and watch 8 hours of channel 69 and just watch nothing but wrestling.
That's it.
And my God, I know for me and my brother, our favorite to watch at that time was always, you got to watch WWE, you got to watch some of that good stuff, and then you got to see what I liked was UWF, Texas wrestling, Tennessee wrestling, and then Georgia Mountain wrestling.
That's it.
And it was like, and then 2 a.m. if you were able to stay up that point,
I was usually up.
You got to watch the Puerto Rican wrestling. It's like, I don't understand what they're saying, but I like it. They look good.
Yes, and if anybody out there is watching and knows, there's got to be some sort of video library of that stuff. I would love to see it.
Yeah. And by the way, if Bonnie Black, I know she's out there. Bonnie Blackstone, I'd love to have, just have her on the show or anything, because of the fact, just it was such a momentous. I remember saying to some people, that's what hooked me, was seeing all the different wrestlers, not just one.
Right.
But, and it's like for us, WCW, that was it. The Omni. Jeez. You want to talk about a happening joint was going there. You go there to just see some shows. I remember one show we saw was Ric Flair versus Terry Funk. I swear Terry Funk tried to fight everyone in the crowd. It was awesome. But that's Terry Funk. It's like, for kids, it's like we got to see that. And it's like, oh, man, those were some fun days. I remember seeing, one of my first memories was Road Warrior Animal. Hawk just had an injury. So Paul Ellering joined in the match
Okay.
in a ladder match against the Powers of Pain.
Oh man.
And Hall just jumps in, does a double clothesline. I'm going, that boy's built.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Paul Ellering was no joke.
yeah, fresh as Paul. There was but that boy could fight. I'm like,
well, I can remember seeing Flair and Steamboat do a 60-minute Broadway at a house show.
Yeah.
You know, at the Omni. You know, guys like Brad Armstrong. Remember seeing him. Nikita, Tully Blanchard. I mean, those were the days, and that's what I cut my teeth on. And you know, as a kid, seeing that, I mean, it was magical. It was better than, you know, anything on TV.
Oh yeah.
It was better than I mean, gosh, you know, everybody else was, you know, Star Wars, whatever. And no offense to all the Star Wars lovers out there, but for me, I was always a wrestling nerd. That was what it was about.
And the thing is, what for me as a kid, the heels were larger than life. Like for me, the Horsemen. It's like you always say, who can team up to fight these guys? Because you know they look like pretty boys, but they could fight. And man,
and looked really cool doing it.
Yes, and and one of my favorite memories was Ric Flair and the feud with him and Jimmy Garvin. I love that one the most because of Jimmy Garvin dressing up like Precious and popping him, and it was like,
was that Ron Garvin?
I thought it was Ron Garvin. Yeah, because he had the hands of stone.
Right, just in drag, knocked Flair out in the hotel room. God. Beautiful.
And then J.J. Dillon got knocked out. That's another guy that people don't really talk about. But J.J. Dillon played a huge role. Oh, all of them were. And it's like, for me, it's like, man, as a kid, to me, that's a golden era. And it's not just in saying it. It really was because you got to see everybody.
And that was the era, too, where the heels really were the show.
Yeah.
You know, you had your Dusties and you had your Stings and you know, a lot of people now, you know, you got everybody that wants to complain about booking and everybody wants to be the armchair booker. But back then it was like, you know, you wanted so badly to see the faces finally get their revenge on these guys.
Yeah.
And you know, it didn't happen, and it didn't happen. But that's what brought people back. And finally, when it did happen, it was that much more beautiful.
Yeah, and it's like, it's an art because, you know, kind of when I've learned, that's kind of how I learned how to, you know, write shows in my mind because I'm writing them and I'm going, I don't want the faces to win all the time because it just waters it down. And then you don't really have that belief that the heel can win.
And it's like I said, I after having seen some talk on Facebook and all, I said, you know, without a good villain, there's no need for a hero. And that's been lost with, you know, this day and age and a lot of the instant gratification that people want. They want to see, you know, the good guy win immediately and go home happy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not always about that. Sometimes it's about the adversity and wanting to see, you know, eventually this jerk, this complete ass get what's coming to him. So.
Exactly. And that's the beautiful thing in the business where you're trying to invoke the emotion.
Yes.
I know talking with Chris Saturday, that was something that we talked about with Shawn Michaels being one of those guys where any match he's in, he can get you you feel for him. If it's a loss, you're devastated like he is.
Right.
But then the next show, he's ready to go back at it.
Exactly.
And that's what you want. And yeah, like I said, it's a lost art. So as we're speaking about that, then let's normally I go about training, but let's talk about that. You know, faces, heels, the psychology. What is it for you? What do you get more gratification as a wrestler? What do you rather be? If you got to book your own self, what would you rather be? Be the villain or be the face? And then, what is the psychology for you when you think of that? Who are the guys you like to emulate? When you
anybody that knows me
mm-hmm.
probably would tell you that I make a better heel than I do a face.
That is true.
I don't. Some people have seen me other places, and they're a little shocked. If you've been coming to Southern Fried a lot lately, I've been on the babyface side of things, but I feel like I'm more a natural heel.
Yeah.
Maybe that's for therapeutic reasons. It's
I think a lot of us feel that way when we get over to that route.
I love the fact that I can come out,
mm-hmm.
whether I open my mouth or not, to be able to look at someone and my body language, the facial expressions, I can make you hate me before I've even stepped in the ring.
Yeah.
And to me, that is it's fun. It's I don't know, man. It's just
kind of like that therapeutic. It's just,
yeah. It's and then when I get what's coming to me and the people are happy and enjoying that, that's good too. But on the flip side of things, as a baby face, it's I like to be an inspiration to the kids that come out, especially with everything that most people know that I've been through physically.
Yes.
In the past year, it's also rewarding to get that email from a parent that you've never spoken to before.
Yeah.
You've never, you don't know them from Adam, but you get that message on Facebook. Hey, my kid came to the show last night. They've been going through this, dealing with this, and for that 2 hours they smiled.
Yeah.
And for that 2 hours they forgot about their problems. And it's little stuff too. Like you took an extra 2 minutes of intermission to talk to my child and sign an autograph, and they've talked about it, for a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's little things that we may not even know.
Yeah.
That a person is going through,
and
giving them that escapism from their problem, even if it's just for a little while, or giving them something to look forward to the next month. I mean, to me that's huge, and that's more important than titles. That's more important than a big payday. That's what it's about for me, because I know, as growing up, a lot of times, in my life, wrestling was one of the only constants that I had.
Yeah.
I knew that every Saturday those guys were going to be on TV, and that was going to take me away from whatever bull crap I had on my mind for that time. So I just want to be able to give that back.
I love that, because I was the same way. I'm like, the wrestling was there always, and you got to be able to watch, and you got to be able to just you get to be able to be a part of that. It's just even to another level. And when it comes to the kids, it is something that's truly special, because we never realize whatever time we have or whatever we're doing, just how it affects others, and it's great. And like I said, being a heel can be very, very fun.
Yes.
I mean, and it is. I mean, I tell people, I think if, we're back in the day, because we watched WCW so much, it was like you wanted to be the face because you wanted to be the guy that took out the Horseman.
Right.
But then you realize, man, the Horseman did have a lot of fun, though,
Yeah. and a lot of stuff that I look at guys like Austin. And
yeah.
I look at guys, even, I always get to see CM Punk comparisons.
Yeah.
Guys that, they're going out there, they're taking care of business. They, some of the things they do are typical heel behavior.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the way they're doing it, and the people that they're doing it to, that it's like, who hasn't wanted to go out and,
punch the balls,
beat their boss up?
Oh, God, yeah.
Who hasn't felt unappreciated at work to the
Yeah.
fact where they want to, a pipe bomb the way that Punk did, It's stuff like that. So there's a lot more gray area, I feel like, these days.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it's like, if you try to manufacture it, people won't like it. But if you could tap to your personality, I feel that's when you can really get the genuine reaction with fans. And if it don't work, you just try something else.
Yeah,
but I mean,
and a lot of times I find myself walking that line. It's like, the people are cheering me, but if I need to sneak up behind somebody and break a kendo stick over across their back, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh yeah, well, finally, gentlemen, that's the way I see it. So let's go ahead and ask. Starting out, what was your training like? What was the biggest challenge for you training? Was it because there's some people athletically is the just getting ring shape, and then there's some that will say grabbing the mic and talking. So what was your greatest challenge?
Well, I guess I have a background in MMA.
Okay.
And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I never competed on any kind of level. I did a few amateur tournaments.
Okay.
What have you. But wrestling was always my first love. I played in bands. Like I said, did the MMA. And I started noticing on Facebook, I was always kind of aware of what was going on locally.
Okay.
On indie shows. And I started seeing these posts on Facebook from SFCW.
Okay.
That there were shows that were coming up, and in Monroe, and living in Athens, that was fairly close. And I guess it was 2 years ago, this past October.
Okay.
They had a show, and Luke Gallows was on the show. He had already been released from, I believe it was the Aces and Eights.
Yeah,
era.
TNA, yeah. Because
And,
a lot of people were going crazy that he was up
right. And he was doing a seminar prior to the show.
Okay.
Where you could come in and spend a couple hours learning, and it was really more geared towards people who had already been trained and who were looking to kind of sharpen their skills.
All right.
So I sent a message on Facebook and was talking back and forth. I was talking to Chris. I didn't know it at the time, but that's who I was talking to. And I said, hey, I have this background in submission fighting.
Yeah.
And I have a huge passion for wrestling, but no experience. Could I come do this seminar? So he talked to Gallows, and he said, yeah, come on. So I show up to the building, and I was the only one there for the seminar.
Wow.
And I remember when Gallows came in, and I was, initially kind of starstruck. I'm like, hey, this is the guy that, the Straight Edge Society and Aces and Eights.
Bullet Club and...
Yes, and all that. So I got to spend a couple hours in the ring with him. He was the first person that I ever locked up with in a wrestling ring.
Wow.
And, you're not going to become a wrestler after one training session, but, I did learn some of the basics and just had kind of I took to it.
Yeah. No.
It was easy for me. And as a result of that, later in the show, I was put as the referee in a match between him and Leatherface.
Okay.
And it was a false count anywhere, Halloween massacre match or something. I forget how they built it.
With Leatherface, that's usually how it always is, but and I love those.
And for the finish of the match, Gallows got the chainsaw.
Okay.
So I jump in front of him. No, you're not going to saw this man's head off in front of him.
This is a family show,
right? And I took the big boot from him and took my first bump on a show.
Okay.
And unbeknownst to me, there was a chair in the ring. The chairs had been flying all night. So I took the most beautiful back bump on a steel chair. First time ever in the ring, not even knowing it was back. Had I known it was back there, I don't know how the bump would have looked. But
probably better that you didn't know.
It got a pop, and I was on cloud nine. I mean, I at that time I had no idea if I would ever get to work a match as a performer, but just being able to be in there and be part of that magic, and be a part of the show, and I was hooked. I was addicted.
The new drug.
And then I started to, train a little bit with guys before shows. Jerry Nelms, Chris. I was just welcomed with open arms.
Yeah.
Charles was, from day one, supported my dream and was willing to help me do whatever I needed to do to get there, which is why, I tell everyone, Southern Fried, that's my home. That's where my loyalty lies.
Yep.
And I'd go to war for that man.
Yeah. I mean, I love going there, actually. To me, I never, I've done shows for other people, and my thing is this. I love a rowdy crowd. I love a crowd that does bring it. That crowd can bring it.
Yes.
They actually will. It's hilarious, and it's funny, but it's like, oh my God, they actually will bring it. And they get so behind it. And like I said, they're doing a really good thing. That's why I'm glad I'm trying to jump in and trying to.
I've tried to describe that crowd to people before. The best way that I can describe it, imagine if there was a time warp, and a crowd from the ECW arena was somehow transported to rural Georgia in 1980, 1983, 1984. Yeah, to me, that's the vibe.
Okay, because me and you will get this. Georgia Mountain Wrestling. You remember Georgia Mountain Wrestling,
yes.
Where the guy with the mustache, Brusnick, I want to say, but it was Burley dude. But anyway, those fans, I remember them. They, as a kid, I remember they were into it, but it was like, But that's where most of them, I would think, those fans came from, right there in the ECW reference. Very,
yes.
Very good. Oh, God.
But as far as training goes,
Yeah.
and since then, I think the first time I actually worked a match, I was in a battle royal, like most people generally start out.
Yeah.
And I got chopped by every person pretty much in the ring at that time. Kicked in the head. You know, it was like being beaten into a family.
Initiation, battle royal.
But I loved it every minute of it. And since then, I've trained with a lot of different guys. I'll go ahead and give the plug for Jamie and Homeschool. If anybody out there is watching and you're looking for a good place to train that's going to teach you the basics and how to be a wrestler, not necessarily an acrobat.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say enough good things about what I've learned from Jamie, and Terry Lawler is another one.
Oh, yeah.
He comes out there and works out with us, and you can learn so much, you know, from guys like that have been around for years, and they've seen it, and they've seen the business go through different phases of you know, there's boom periods, and there's lulls, and there's, you know, certain styles of working that seem to get over more at different times.
Yeah.
But just being able to listen to him and his wisdom, and just, you know, he's a guy that could very easily sit back and say, you know, you're on your own, kid, or you know,
lace my boots and all.
Yeah,
that.
or be super super critical and all. But no, he's been great. You know, him and Jamie both. You know, Chris is another guy that's done a lot for me. Nigel Sherrod. Those are all guys that I consider, I guess, like my wrestling family. You know.
No, I got you.
You know, day or night, if I got an idea, I can bounce it off one of them. They'll either tell me it's good, they'll tell me it sucks. You
love that too.
Yeah.
You need that. I mean, I know myself. Oh my God. I mean, just doing a wrestling show, it's one of those. I have more of an appreciation doing these shows now, because it's like, I was the guy that I would about to go to sleep, and then I get a Facebook notification or a ding, and go, "Hey man, you up?" What's up?
I am now.
Yeah, or it's like, "What's up?" Well, I have this idea. Oh shit.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay, what you got? And it's like, but I never took it as, oh God, here we go again. But no, it's cool because they knew I was always open for ideas, and I was always willing to listen, because I was like, guys, you're the artist. That ring is your canvas. I just give you bullet points, go by that, and then you do the rest. You know, as long as key things get done, I'm good. You know, and I like it when guys take that initiative, when they just go, like, I'm going to plug them too, Justin and Cody. Young guys, but they were like, I told them, all right, you really want to do this bull rope match, let's do it. You make a bull rope then. And you thought I told Justin to go get, you know, a hot rod out the garage. Okay.
Yeah.
And like he made like 4 of them. And I'm going, okay, I don't know how to respond by this, but let's go with that one. But it was so cool to see that enthusiasm, and the fact that he watched a bunch of bull rope matches. I said, tell me you saw some WCW ones. He's like, oh yeah, Luger and Stan Hansen. I'm like, thank God. Thank you. That's one of my favorite ones. That, and of course, Dusty. And
that's another thing, you know, the network. You know, even if, you know, I tell guys all the time, like, if you can't train, watch the network.
Yeah.
You know, watch the guys that have done it.
Yeah.
You know, and learn. I mean, we have that resource available to us, and the people that are too cool to pay the $9.99 a month because, you know, for whatever, give me a break.
I mean, well, all right, let me ask you, as a wrestler, you know, I think for me, I'm always going to be a fan at heart. I'm always going to watch the network. I'm going to play video games. I'm going to relive wrestling through action figures and stuff. I don't see that as a deal. And then when I see guys that go, oh, I don't watch that, they're thinking they're big. It's a resource still, like you just said. Why? I don't understand those people when it's like, it is what it is.
I mean, you know, it's one of those things. You can pick it apart. You can complain about every little thing you don't like, or you can enjoy it for what it is. You can be a fan. You can be grateful, you know, that this is still on TV, and that we have that. So I that's one of those things. People, I tend not to like to surround myself with complainers about the business and all. And I know that we all have bad days. We all have things we'd like to change. But at the end of the day, lighten up, dude. You know, be a fan. Enjoy this.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky enough to be in the business, I mean, you know, there are people out there that would kill for one night in a ring in front of a crowd. You know, and if you're lucky enough to be there, and you're lucky enough to have people that want to pay their hard-earned money to come watch you essentially live your dream, you know, shut up.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it. Be happy. You know, be happy. Have fun. If you're not having fun, get out.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people, look, if it wasn't for a cane, my back, and the surgeries I've had, I would love to be in that ring. But, you know, it is what it is. But I will give everything I can to making sure people know about indie wrestling, because that was something that I learned. No one is covering indie wrestling. No one is really trying to shine a light on it. And I tell my guys, I go, you know what? To me, it's got to have some kind of focus, because there are guys out there doing it all day, and they'll do it for anything, just to do a show. And
I mean, it's there's a fine line there.
Well, you know what I mean. There's some guys that are passionate, but then there's some that are like you called them, the complainers.
And as far as doing it for anything and for nothing, there's definitely a fine line there. But then that falls on, or do you want to work? Are you going to work for a promoter that respects you, and values your talent and your time and what you were willing to put on the line? Because let's face it, anything can happen when you step in the ring.
Ring can break.
Yes, the ring can break. Bones break.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Jesus.
But it's just it's a fine line there. But the bottom line is, if you're not having fun and you're not enjoying what you're doing, those people sitting every 18 inches are going to pick up on that.
Oh God, yes, they will. And, yes.
And gosh, like I just can't say it enough. Just have fun and be grateful.
Yeah. I love that. That's what I enjoy. One of the things I really like in the business is we get to, you get to kind of build on guys that you've watched in the past. Whoever inspired you as a kid when you're watching, and you get in that ring and you kind of have that mindset and you go, God, I think I could just take that guy's little what he did. Who are your favorite wrestlers? Who are guys that you just enjoyed watching nonstop?
Gosh, growing up.
And maybe even when you're in that ring, you kind of channel the way they are in the ring.
Growing up, one guy that I really enjoyed, and I say this, and a lot of people are kind of surprised, was Barry Windham. He was not he didn't have the physique that a lot of guys have now and that some had then, but when he was in there, it was art. Everything he did just made sense. He could make you hate him. He could make you love him. He could make you think all hope was lost.
Yeah.
And then pull, superplex. I remember, I can remember one specific incident marking out in my room when he won the television title from Stunning Steve on WCW Saturday Night.
Oh, golly, you were pulling some stuff I remember.
And, he was a guy... I also liked the ones that scared you.
Yeah.
And Abdullah was a huge one.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Sullivan, all those.
That man was
I liked the ones that if you were there live when they came out, you were honestly afraid.
You did not want to be in the back with them.
Yeah, you didn't know what could happen when they came out into the crowd fighting. There was an element of fear
yes.
involved. Obviously, more modern times. I was a big fan of Stone Cold.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
CM Punk definitely has been an influence on my character. That comparison gets made all the time.
It does, but hey, sometimes if shoe fits, you just
Right, and it's never been anything really conscious that I've tried to do. I feel like we kind of travel the same path.
Yeah. No.
As far as being into the punk music scene and all that. But,
and it's like the personalities. It's
right.
like sometimes the personas, and it's just if you feel like you could jive with the guy, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing because it is what it is. It's I mean, like I said, I respect his ability in the ring. The other stuff, that's on him. But I loved his in-ring talent. I love his mic work. I loved his heel work.
Well, it's one of those.
He is one of the I think one of the best. If I have to list my top 5 of all time wrestlers, I actually would put him up there.
Bret Hart, the stuff he did with the later years of the Hart Foundation.
Oh,
with Pillman and Davey Boy. And
that was gold.
Yes,
that was gold with him because what he did, he took an opportunity. He never went, or he did. He went heel, but it was like only in America. Worldwide, I'm a fan. I'm a hero.
Right.
And the fans went with it. It was so crazy because I remember the pay-per-view, the Canadian Stampede one. They were cheering him nonstop, and I'm going, it worked.
Mm-hmm. And the double turn with him and Austin.
Oh,
that is something. If you are a worker and you're wondering, how do I engage fans in a match? How do I, really get people's emotions invested? That's the match to watch because going into that, those people wanted Austin's blood, and they got it.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, it was like, hey, this guy.
He never gave up.
No. And that to me, I've heard people say anybody can learn moves.
Okay.
Anybody can learn, spots. But it's that psychology. You look at guys like Jake Roberts. That is what's missing. And that is what turns, someone that can do wrestling moves into a superstar, is being able to manipulate the feelings of a crowd. Because let's face it, wrestling, this is one of our, besides Broadway acting.
Yeah.
This is the last true performance art.
Yeah. And I like that what you said about Jake the Snake, about the psychology, because think about it. What was it? In WWE recently, I know this is a touchy subject with fans because of Roman Reigns, but Roman got a huge pop at the same place he got booed out of the arena in Philadelphia. And because, not The Rock, not Stone Cold, Vince McMahon. An old, 70-year-old man, but what you said, was able to just, everyone hates Roman, and then even he says it, and they go, oh, that ain't right, man. You crazy old.
Yeah.
And then right there, Vince, it's like someone put a meme, Vince going, and they said I'm too old for this.
He's love him or hate him. He's a genius.
And but what you said, psychology, it matters. Like the guys you touched, Kevin Salt, Barry Windham, classic wrestler that you could say, okay, was he shaped like a Greek god? No. But in the ring, he could go. He was very good in the ring.
60 minutes easy.
Oh, yeah. Him and Dusty Rhodes had some great matches. Him and Flair. Him and Luger, I remember. Him and Luger were a good team and then a great rivalry. So, I like, and by the way, I love their comparison because that's just one of those guys as a kid, I enjoyed watching, even when he did turn. What, as a wrestler for you, what is like, we talked about the psychology, but what are things you enjoy a lot about the indie wrestling? Is it the familyhood? Is it more like the guys being together with the guys, or is it more, touching it, getting the fans to get a reaction from you?
Well, that's a lot of things.
What's the one thing that keeps, or maybe not one thing, but what keeps you coming back for more?
So many things, really. Like you said, the family atmosphere in the back is a huge part, and that's a huge thing at Southern Fried. You see it everywhere you go, but it's a little more there because a lot of us guys that have been there, for the past 2 years, we've really seen things take off, and it's really been a team effort with so many people, even people that aren't out there on display, that have worked hard and put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making that what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's knowing that you're going to get to go do something you love with your friends, that's huge. It is being able to entertain the crowd just so much. And I think a lot of wrestlers, like if you talk to 10 wrestlers, like what is it about the why do you come back? Why do you keep coming back when you're hurt? When you don't feel like it? When you're not getting paid exorbitant amounts of money to be there. What? And a lot of guys will look you right in the eye and say, I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to explain, but once it's part of you, once it's in your blood, it's
like you get sick, you don't even want to miss this show.
Yeah,
and you're not even in the show. You just go,
right.
I don't need to get somewhere.
But it's unlike anything I've ever done before.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you I love going to shows. It's really cool because to me, indie wrestling, I don't know, it's just something about it. I just enjoy watching it more because it's just more like a humble beginning. And like I said, back in the days, I keep remembering those wrestlers that would come out and they wrestle, and I'm going, man, they're in a barn.
Yeah, and it's a guy, another worker put on Facebook yesterday. It's like, is wrestling fake? And he said, well, is making someone happy fake? Is making someone forget about their problems for 2 hours fake? Is inspiring a kid to stand up for themselves because they saw you do it, is that fake?
Yep.
And he said, or is it the most real thing someone could possibly do?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something to think about.
We're going to also talk about something real because, all right, so you sent me a video. I watched it, and I told you that was probably the most sickest thing not sickest because I've seen Sid Vicious break his leg, but you had a similar situation where you broke yours. And, yeah, bro, I'm going to tell you, first of all, big man to finish the match against the big guy, but, I mean, bro, that was something to watch. But injuries, it's the real part of wrestling. You just talked about, the pains, the broken bones. What was that like? I mean, you're in a match. It wasn't like that was planned. We know that.
Oh man. Well, the injury. It was. It's funny. It was a booking that I took the last minute.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything going on that weekend. There was a show.
Okay.
So I took the booking. It was in Greensboro, Georgia. So
okay. Yeah.
A good, hour and 20 minutes from home. So I go and I'm working a guy named TW James. You're probably familiar with. I love TW. We're in the ring, and it was a very simple spot.
Yeah.
And it was a spot where he was sitting, and I came off the ropes and was going to hit a sit-out clothesline on him. And my left leg went out in front of me the way it should have, and the tip of my right boot just barely caught the canvas, and my leg folded up under me the way that it shouldn't have.
Oh.
I broke my fibula, which is the bone that runs down the side.
This one right here?
Yes, on the outside.
Okay.
I heard something pop,
mm-hmm.
and I knew I was hurt, but I thought, there's no way I broke my leg. It's probably sprained, or at worst, I've torn something. But I'm going to finish this match. And he could tell I was hurt. The referee could tell I was hurt. And they said, do you want to go home? I said, no, let's finish this. So then I stand up and start kicking the guy with my broken leg.
That's the part I was going to ask about.
I'm throwing, the leg kicks. And if you watch the video, at one point I just collapse. That was 100% real.
Yep.
And so we went to the finish. I was working heel that night. I've never been so happy to see Maverick, who was out there with me. The finish, he stands up, he's distracting the ref, he throws me some brass knuckles. I've never been so happy to see the finish coming. So I pick up the win, and at that point I couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
I got the pin, and you can see I'm trying to tell Wolfman's trying to tell me to stand up so he can raise my hand, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. So I roll out of the ring, and Maverick kind of carries me to the back. By the time I got from the ring to the locker room, it had swelled up so bad that I couldn't get my boot off.
Oh.
And I thought I was gonna have to cut it off. Thank God I didn't have to cut the boot off. But I left. I drove home. I get home, and I'm thinking, what have I done to myself? I put my foot up on some pillows. Sorry, Mom, but I drank some whiskey.
I drank some adult beverage.
and went on to bed.
Yeah, oh God.
And I woke up. It was about 4:30 in the morning, and my ankle was the size of my thigh. So I drove myself to the hospital, crawled into the ER, and that's when they told me that it was broken. And that was just the start of the nightmare.
Oh, man.
Since then, I had to have surgery. They were going to put hardware in my leg. And as tends to happen, unfortunately, these days, I contracted MRSA from
the
surgery. So to make a long story short, I had 5 surgeries between October and the end of November.
Wow.
To try to get this infection out of the bone in my leg. In the process of that, I went into kidney failure in the hospital.
Damn.
Yeah, lost about 60 pounds.
Okay.
Couldn't do anything. And then everything's, I rehab it. I was told that you will probably not wrestle again. You will probably not run. You will probably do nothing athletically oriented because of this. And I just refused to accept that.
Yeah.
Even if all I was going to be able to do was come back and have one match, I was like, I'm going to do that because, this isn't the end. This ain't my fucking chapter. I'm going to end this on my terms. So, Charles, I'm really grateful that it would have been really easy to just kind of write me off at that point. But Charles reaches out and asks me to do the commissioner role.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was really the first real commissioner character that Southern Fried had. And so I did that while I was healing. I had an IV line in my arm for months, so I couldn't really take any bumps or do anything too crazy. Although Logan Creed chopped me with an IV line in my arm. That was fun.
You look at him, I get you back.
But
I don't know how you get you.
But anyway, so when I thought that everything was good, I relapsed. The infection came back. So I had 3 more surgeries, and this time there was conversation about the possibility that I could lose that leg. And that's when it really got real. And thank God that didn't happen. And I remember waking up in a hospital room after a surgery, and if I'm leaving someone out, please forgive me. I was on every drug known to man.
Yeah, I understand.
But I remember waking up, and my hospital room was full of wrestlers.
Brotherhood right there. That's family right there.
I know Chris and his wife were there. Nigel was there. Tim Rice came by, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I'm really sorry.
I think Jerry was.
But it was one of those things where I was just like, this really good. This is more than just wrestling and all like this. This really is a family, and that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And my biological family witnessed that as well.
Yeah.
And I think that that was something that I'll always remember.
Yeah.
Was the fact that those people were there for me. A guy that was green as grass, had really done nothing to deserve that kind of respect and that kind of treatment, but they they did. So, and that's something that I will never forget, was waking up in that room and seeing those guys in there.
Wow. So I mean, that's big right there. I mean, I take my hat off there because in this business you see so many people that are bitter.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like it when I hear stories like that, because to me it's like, look, you got to trust the guys in that ring. And, for some of the stuff y'all do, and some, especially in Southern Fried, I mean, they have a reputation. I remember someone was like, oh man, all they do is bust each other up. I'm like, no, that's good matches. They don't bleed all the time. And then you throwing the guy off of the ladder. But anyway,
well,
good. But you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, it's just, for me, I understand that dynamic that, two guys in that ring and that you're putting your life on the line and you're trusting them to take care of you so you can get out the same way you came in.
Right. And since then, like I have come back, and I mean, there's things that I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I had to change some things about my work style.
Yeah.
But it's just being able to come back from something like that has been huge.
Being able to, or basically now when you say you had to adapt, is it more like you had to change up like appearance wise, the moves that be able to pull off versus moves you can't pull off anymore? Or?
I mean, you're not gonna see me do a whole lot of high spots.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's never really been my style anyway. But
yeah, I tried to stop doing the 450 splash. It always
I mean, it's just adapting and deciding what works for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about Stone Cold. Remember when he got the power driver,
Mm-hmm.
and then he wrestles Undertaker and gets another almost crippling injury, and it's like, as he says, you ain't gonna tip me over on my head. I can't take a power driver because it'll kill me.
And of course, my first match back was a street fight with Maverick. So that was
because Maverick used to be your partner, and then y'all went at it, and then kind of did the Triple H Shawn Michaels thing. It reminded me of.
Well, what happened was I was put with early in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I was put with Nigel and a guy Sugar Shane. Okay. As a group called the Elite Revolution.
All right.
And we were kind of like just the cocky heel stable. And when I got hurt and everyone knew about it, and everyone knew about the long road back, it just made sense for me to turn face.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did the whole program. Me and Nigel, we feuded, and gosh, it was a long time before we actually squared off.
Yeah, you guys really built it up. I remember that.
And so Maverick was the first one that I faced when I came back, and we did the street fight, and we beat the hell out of each other. Chairs, stop signs, kendo sticks, the whole 9 yards, and So I just jumped right back into it with both feet. One and a half feet, I guess. But it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. I got to say that I came back.
Yeah, you didn't let it beat you. That's the damn good thing, because a lot of people would missed out on that, man. I mean,
and since then it's just been one great opportunity after another. I've gotten to work a lot of different places, a lot of different promotions, some better than others.
Yeah.
But it's I wouldn't change it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't change it.
Hey, man, life is the biggest roller coaster in the world we get. So you just gotta enjoy the ride, and even if it is through the lull and the worst time in the world, trust me, I've been there with the back issues. Being homeless sucked too. So I'll be able to tell you the story for another day. But I'll tell you, I love hearing this. And my question to you is this: talk about this coming back from the injury. You just talked about the dynamic of, okay, I'm going to have to come back as a face. So you have to embrace that character. And then it's like, do you feel like, okay, as a heel, you already have established your persona. So now I got to become a face. Do you go, okay, I just need to turn all around and just kind of be this glorious good guy, happiness? Or do I stay my character, but I just do it to the guys they want me to? What was the toughest part in that psychology for you to learn?
I mean, I guess if you ask people,
because you've done good. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, if you ask people that have been there, I really hadn't changed. It was really more the second thing you said. It's my attitude's always kind of been a little edgy,
mm-hmm.
and some of the things that I've done, like I said, are something you would expect like a heel to do, but it was who I was doing it to.
Yeah.
And it was the way that I was presenting my actions to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the match I did with Jerry.
Yeah.
Twisted. You were there. You saw that.
Yeah.
The show prior to that, what set that up, he went after my bad leg with a chair, him and Ace.
Okay.
So, I came back, I stabbed the guy in the head with a railroad spike and was cheered for it. Is that something, is that something that you would see John Cena do, to,
Bray Wyatt?
Probably not.
No.
But it's one of those things that I just take my personality and turn it up a little bit.
It ain't nothing wrong with that.
And yeah, it's just it's just that gray area that I like to stay in. It just depends on the context of your actions really more than your actions itself.
Yeah. Being able to just get the crowd involved, and that's what I love about it. And then it's like, as long as you don't lose that essence, because sometimes it's like I tell people, you have a great character. Why are you trying to change it to something else? Because there's those guys that are like, well, I got this gimmick, I got this one, I got this one, and you're going, I'll wrestle 3 times if I got to, but just don't let me wear all this.
Yeah, and when I was the commissioner, I was doing things, active, putting my hands on active participants, things like that wound up getting me in a little trouble. But it's not so much what you do; it's how you do it in the context.
And I like how you say it, but everyone gets involved with it, and people like it.
Right.
And that's what I enjoy the most. One of the things I love asking, what are some funny, probably already getting a few already. What is, some things that you just enjoy dealing, when you're dealing with people, or what's one of the funniest moments in the back that made you just about lose it? Besides the fact Ace about tripping over my damn cord that everyone talks about. And then, of course, AJ going after me saying that I'm trying to kill his wrestlers, but,
Yeah, well, a lot of what happens in backs can stay in back.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah.
There have been some pretty good ribs that have gone down. One involving Jerry in a bathroom stall and some bottles of ice water.
Oh,
Chris. That pretty almost caused a rift in the Nelms family.
Oh God.
As far as funny stuff that's happened.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you got to tell me all the.
Well, there was an incident in the ring that was one of the highlights of everything. I don't know if you were there. We did the whole storyline when I lost the commissionership.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
When it was a 6-man. It was me, Brian Kane. It was an 8-man.
Yeah, because
it was me, Brian Kane, Maverick.
Yeah. And was someone else? God, who was?
Well, it was supposed to be Terry Lawler on our team, and then he turned on me. So, at a show the week before, Chris had a little injury to his knee.
Oh yes.
We were doing a street fight, and he hurt his knee. It's turned out not to be as bad as what we had thought. Thank God.
Yeah.
But Chris kayfabed his grandmother on the injury. Okay. This lady is at a lot of the shows.
Yeah.
And she's a great fan, gets very into what's happening.
Uh-huh.
So Chris kayfabed her on the knee. So at one point in the match, when it came down to me and Chris, we did this spot where I put him in an STF and I ripped his knee brace off. Well, his grandmother comes to the ring absolutely ready to kill me because I'm hurting her grandbaby's hurt knee. Okay? Now, I don't really notice at the time how angry she is.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good thing because I probably would have gone over and taunted her at the time. So Jerry is trying to get her back. The security is trying to get her back. Finally she calms down enough and goes back to her seat. And I'm laughing about it later. And then Chris tells me, he's like, she carries a taser.
Oh, God.
And
my daughter would be so proud.
I mean, I don't think I realized how close I came to getting tased in the ring. Legit. So that was a good. That was a funny.
Oh my Lord! Yeah, see those stories. It's like that's what I'm talking about. Just moments where you go, does that just really happen? And then him telling you to taser that would.
And if I had gotten tased, it would have been all Chris Nelms' fault.
Oh yeah. He pays off an old woman to
yes
tases you. Oh God, that would even made the show better. What are you talking about?
So anyway,
not for you, but
that was a good night.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because I've seen guys use a taser in the ring and they make sure you ain't getting tased, but I would hate to have that happen to somebody. Hey, for the business, right?
Right, sure. Anything
That's where you look, Charles. I think I need a little bit more of that one. I ain't walking too well. What's been like? What are because I usually ask about what's indie where, but you sound like you really enjoy being in the indie scene and being with Southern Fried. What are things that you just off the top of your head? Who are the guys that you just enjoyed wrestling with so far that you've actually had a chance to wrestle?
Guys that I've wrestled so far, obviously Nigel.
Yeah.
We have a chemistry. We had a good solid 25-minute match to blow off our little feud. That working with guys like that, it's easy. Other guys that I've had the pleasure of working. Jerry, I always enjoyed being in the ring with him. Cameron Cade, those were some good matches. Cody is one. I haven't wrestled him at Southern Fried, but we both wrestled for APW Royston, and I've gotten to wrestle with him 3 times.
Oh yeah.
And every time we go out there, we try to do something a little different. But somebody like that, you can tell has the drive and just respect for the business. It just makes it easy. And then there's some guys that you just don't. They're okay. You're cool people, but you just don't have that chemistry in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, and it takes some time, and some it's just like instant. It's like that wavelength. I don't even know how to call it. It's just like I was talking. I remember having one guy we worked a lot with, Nitrous. I mean, this guy just clicked. It's like people looked at us and they're like, "How do y'all know each other?" So I'm like, just like each other, I guess. I don't know. We just and it was never wrestling, but it was more like I could tell him I could see this. This is where I want to go. And he goes, "Bro, I can deliver it for you. Just let me go." So all right, do it. My boy brings him a shitty to a match. I'm going, okay, that really was what I was thinking, but you know what? Well, but what I told him was, I wasn't really thinking that, but you know what? It's you. Go for it.
Yeah.
I do it, someone would think I lost my mind.
Right.
I was going to have fun. I told him, I said, it'd be funny if we brought a weed eater to go challenge Leatherface's chainsaw. He just looked at me and goes, bro, that would be so racist. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happened in CZW.
You gotta have fun.
Yeah.
My thing is this: if I can get a cheap laugh, I'm happy because that's to me is something that needs to be done at times. With social media, how have you seen how? We've talked about the complainers, the whiners, but yet, how has social media benefit the indie scene? Like how
I mean,
in your view, not it doesn't have to be in general. I'm just saying, what do you think?
It's a mixed bag. It's great as far as being able to get bookings.
Mm-hmm.
You can find promotions in different areas where you'd like to work, and you can kind of investigate some of these places before you want to go work. But I feel like it's also given a forum for the complainers. Yeah. In a way, and a lot of unnecessary drama and shit talking that goes on.
A lot of bashing, which
and like the whole like the trash bag wrestlers and all that, which everybody looks at and everybody gets a good laugh, but at the end of the day, have fun.
Yeah.
And if there's somebody out there that's crap and it's hurting the business, by all means,
bashing.
Those people need to be called out.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody that maybe they're just new, maybe they're getting into the business, maybe their heart's in the right place, but they haven't been taught. They don't know better than to buy a certain kind of gear, or they don't. There's a learning curve, and it's like nobody's learning in private anymore.
Yeah.
That guys are working their first match, putting it up on Facebook, and people are dumping all over it.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like humble beginnings.
Yeah,
Fresh starts. It's like you got to understand that because, sorry, Shawn Michaels wasn't Shawn Michaels when he first did his first match.
Yeah, but the difference was his first match was not put on
TV,
Facebook for the whole world to see.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, there's
kind of miss the old days of video cassettes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I hear guys, you know, Jamie and all them will talk about, you know, we had a pager, you know, we didn't have smartphones.
God, yes.
And all that, and that's, you know, in a way, I feel like we guys now have, you know, a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, if you use it the right way.
Yeah.
And you know, it's easy for anybody to sit back and make a Facebook post about somebody or a promotion or anything like that, and then when you see them face to face,
you won't say nothing.
Yeah, it's a completely different story, and I can't stand that.
I know. Well, for me, it's like when I watch a show, I'll critique it, and if you want my opinion, I'll tell you. But if you don't ask me, I'm not telling you. Yeah, and it's not just because I don't want to offend nobody, but it's like I respect the craft. I don't want to just go, oh man, if I was in charge, I could do this, because who am I? I'm just a guy that's watched it.
Yeah.
I see it, and I go, okay, I'm not understanding this, but I'll probably ask around and find out what was up with it. And what was it? Like, the thing everyone was bashing about was the last show, a lot of heels won. And I said, that's fine. You need that in shows. I tell people, you got to have a balance. You know, and
it's like that, yeah, and that happened, but it's to me as a fan, what that would say to me was, I want to reserve my seat for the next show now because I want to see these guys get what's coming to them.
Exactly, and that's what I think that's what people forget. It's like you're caught in a moment.
It's instant gratification. Everybody wants instant
and it's like,
gratification.
You can't get the microwave like you said, I like the idea of the way WCW did it back in the day. Let's put it off, 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 put it off. When we do it right. Yeah. And that's what you want to do. And I'm like, there are times I want to watch WWE, but because of all the people that crap on it every day, it's like, should I watch? And if I say I like it, y'all gonna crap on me? Yeah, that's when that's when you know something's gone too far. So for me, I'll watch it. I'll keep my opinions to myself, and if someone asks, I'll tell them. I'll do my show about it. But I mean, it's just my thinking is, as a fan, when you watch the big stuff, you just go, "This is what I would like," but I understand why you're doing it.
Right, and then
you're telling the story.
Yeah.
You know, and if every good guy is like, that's the problem. When the good guys win all the time, you haven't developed the heels then.
It means nothing.
Yeah, and without a strong heel that can make everyone want to cut. I mean, I think the biggest loss WWE had so far this year was when Seth went down. You know, because he made people watch. He was able to always counter everyone. And as a heel, you like that. Now, I'm afraid that when he comes back, he'll be a face again. And it's like, no, don't do that. Just let him be a heel, please.
It just goes back to what I said. It's just, you know, enjoy what we have.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy what these guys are going out there and putting their bodies through to entertain me. And, you know, enjoy the fact that, you know, any given Saturday within a 2-hour radius,
yes,
you know, you could drive to, you know, you have the possibility to see, you know, 5 different shows.
Yeah.
You know, that is, there's people out there that
never realize that.
Yeah, that would love to have that. You know, and it's like, and if you don't like what happened on one show, you know, come back the next time, and odds are
something's going to happen.
You're gonna get what you want.
Yeah, and not only that, if it doesn't happen, just watch. You know, that's what a fan gets to be. Ride the roller coaster.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and if it comes out the way you want it, great. If it don't, get ready. That means it's going to be better the next time. And I mean, I think that I like what you said. It's just that microwave fast food mentality that people have gotten into. That don't, like, I remember one time, I told the guys, like, let's do a 6-month feud. And they just looked at me, and it was me, the guy I told you not just, and I said, I think a 6-month feud would work. And Dale's like, yeah, because we can prolong. And Dale looked at me, the Leatherface, he goes, yeah.
I mean, a 6-month feud is nothing.
Well, but as he said, for the show, because you was the only one who won a show.
But it's like, Dusty and Flair had a they could have a 6-year feud.
Yeah, exactly.
And people not get tired of it.
Exactly. And see, the way he's like, I said, let's do 6 months. Let's see if the fans will get into it.
Yeah.
We were halfway through, but then the ownership and me got into a riff, and I called them out on stuff. And when I left, I wasn't trying to pull anything. I just said, guys, I'm sorry, I just can't do it anymore. I left. Next thing I know, I got a phone call. 15 other guys followed me afterwards. And
I'm pretty sure I'm aware of who you're talking about.
Yeah, there'll be credits, and we'll talk after that.
Yeah.
But there was legit beef, and the reason why I became homeless was in that reason too. So, but that's what happens. You want to build something great, and it's just people forget, and it's like the whiners and the complainers. Usually, I try to make sure they don't get what they want, because it's a business, but yet it's fun. It's something like you just said it. You can be something in front of a child and make them forget about their problems. And I know as a kid I had problems, and but for that every Saturday, I always look forward to Saturday because I got to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Even to the point I watched 10:05 to noon.
Yeah.
Or no, 11:05 to noon.
Yeah.
So, and I even missed some of my cartoons, but I was like, I'm watching wrestling, daggum it.
And it's like, when
Hulk Hogan's rock and roll wrestling.
and it's like when you see the same people, coming back show after show, having a good time. You got Jeff Mooney dancing.
Okay.
Jeff, if you're watching, okay.
All right, man, dog. Love you. God.
I'm sorry. If there's any single ladies out there, Moondog's looking for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got that rebel flag bid. The lounge.
Yeah.
That will be a memory that we can never wash away. But anyway.
Who do you think took that picture?
I'm scared to say.
Yeah,
I think it's his mama. Okay. But that's what's scary.
Okay.
Yeah, we love you, but bro, just don't be careful, please. We don't need that, bro. This is some things we try to stay away from. But golly, I'm sorry. I just threw myself off on that. Watching the current product, a lot of people are like NXT fans that love watching that. They like Ring of Honor, they like TNA. What shows that, if you're just want to watch and just kind of study, who are guys that you like to watch and see?
You're talking about present day?
Yeah, present day guys. Just, on the shows and stuff that's on now.
Oh, man. There's a lot. As far as, I guess, the main product, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, God.
He is, to me, that's a guy that is just firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the character that draws people in.
Yep.
The
Fireflies.
I mean, the promos that guy cuts. I put him up there with Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he's one of those big guys that's got that something extra that when they turn him loose and let him go, at the Hell in the Cell with him and Roman Reigns.
Oh, God, yes.
To me, that match stole that show.
Yeah.
Whether you like Roman Reigns or not.
No,
but he's a guy on WWE. As far as NXT goes, obviously, everybody likes Finn Balor.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Yeah.
But
he's good.
I'm right now. I'm working out pretty hard for the tag team champions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
To me, that they are an old school heel tag team. When they're out there working, all I can think of are the Andersons. It's like,
oh my God, I gotta give you that because I said the same thing. I watched the match.
It's like they're not out there doing the 450s. They're not doing the high spots. They're isolating a body part.
Mm-hmm.
They're tagging
wearing it out.
They're tagging in and out, and when the whoever they're wrestling, which is typically a face, except for I think last week they were Ascension, which made no sense. But it's like when they're doing their job as heels, when the babyface starts firing up, it means something.
Yeah, and
And they're two guys. It's like they're not flashy. They're not doing the the high spots, but it's believable. And I mean, I think that we're going to see a lot more out of those guys.
Those were those two guys because, and like I said, I can't remember their names, but the thing is, I know their look, and I saw them, and I saw that, and I said, oh my god, these guys are the closest that I've seen to Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, and Ole Anderson, because Ole and Arn would team up and work that body part, and I'm going. So for you to say that, I'm just going, okay, this is awesome. And what was it when they took out Cass that first time? The first person I thought of, Dusty.
Right.
That's what the Horseman did to Dusty.
Exactly.
And I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's good.
And who else? Gosh, who else? There's a guy named John Schuyler out of the Carolinas that he's actually been on NXT with. He's tagged with Corey Hollis a couple times.
Okay.
I enjoy watching him. I don't really watch a lot of Ring of Honor.
Yeah, no.
To be honest, it's not really the that I don't like it. I just don't. For some reason, I don't have the channel that it's on.
Yeah.
But I have watched some stuff on YouTube. The Briscoes, they're probably who stands out to me with there.
Yeah, and their cousin Hoss usually.
Yeah. And getting to and Moose, he's a guy
yes.
That I've been in the locker room with him at Southern Fried, seeing him come, from the beginning, and now one of the biggest draws in Ring of Honor is nice to see that too.
Yeah, he's worked hard too. He's
Yeah.
He's one that I remember seeing him wrestle actually Southern Fried against Cody Hall, and I'm not trying to be mean, Cody, but I was actually more impressed with Moose because
he's a guy that obviously he's very athletic.
Oh yeah,
but he's had nothing handed to him. Mm-mm. He's gotten where he is based on how hard he's worked, and that's, to me, that's very respectable.
Where do you this is normally I ask about more like where do you see yourself 5 years with indie wrestling and all that, or mainstream, but my question more is this: where do you see yourself, or where do you see Southern Fried at? Because you said that's your home, and you feel you will do anything with it. I know they're going to Lawrenceville, but we'll discuss dates and everything. But where do you feel like this is going with?
Nowhere but up. I can say that. I mean, it seems like it's just growing and growing, and as long as everybody keeps working hard and we keep putting people in seats, there's really no telling. I mean, I'd like to see us on with some sort of TV presence.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Anarchy had.
Yeah.
And I think the talent is there.
Yeah.
It's just getting, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It's the resources falling into place, because I know that Charles is probably the hardest working guy in Georgia wrestling.
Yeah.
And it would be really easy for him to sit back and say, oh well, this is how we got things going and it's good. But he's always looking for that next thing.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like it's just nowhere but up.
Yeah. And the only way you grow is you gotta keep stepping up. What last thing I wanted to ask, what are things you want to see for yourself in the next few years in wrestling?
That's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, I want to work as much as possible. I'd like to get out of Georgia and do some out of town shows. But realistically speaking, everybody's got a time.
Yeah.
When either your body can't go anymore, or for whatever reason, you got to scale back your in-ring time.
Yeah.
And my hope is that when that time comes, I'm still going to be involved in some capacity in wrestling. I would love to see myself get more involved in the promotions end of things. I'd like to run my own promotion. I'd like to maybe have a chance to be an agent, help guys with their matches, and do some of the more behind the scenes stuff that helps make a good product.
Oh yeah.
Creatively speaking.
Oh dang, I'm down with you.
It's just something that there's so many other ways to be involved even when you're not in the ring, that are just as important.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to be, I want to learn as much as I can about all aspects of wrestling, and basically just keep on, being part of something to get, to give to something that's given me so much.
Yeah. Well, man, look, I appreciate, spending time. And guys, I appreciate y'all hearing us out. This is awesome. I appreciate you, man. I mean, this is what, we try to do all the time. And best way to get you booked, or best way to contact you if someone wants to book you?
Facebook. Send me a message. I'll get back to you, quickly.
Okay.
That's the best way to keep track of all the shows coming up. I'm trying to think what I have in the near future. This Friday I'll be at APW in Royston, which is a great show. A lot of people aren't aware of what they have going on up there, but it's every Friday night in Royston. It's a short drive outside of Athens.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys there. Strychnine.
Yep.
Jacob Ashworth. Jeremy Vane, Brandon Parker, guys.
And Tom Brewer too.
Tom Brewer is phenomenal. I mean,
very humble.
There's a lot of talent up there, and it's there for you every Friday night. Come check that out.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, Southern Fried's coming up February 6th.
Yep.
I won't be there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. Can't believe
you jerk.
Tim. Yeah.
But I won't be there for that. I'm suspended.
Yeah. But Lawrenceville's coming up the 27th.
Lawrenceville, I will be there. I'm really excited. That is where I grew up.
Yeah. Okay.
For many years.
We may have crossed paths back then, because
I'm really looking forward to that. And then before that, though, January 30th, there is actually going to be a show at Country Rock Club in Athens, which is kind of a historic building. It's close to the old J&J Center, where they've had some pretty legendary wrestling events.
Sweet.
I know I'll be there. Chip Day is going to be there. Odinson, Nigel, as well. So that should be a good night.
I gotta go here. Y'all should go just to see Odison's hair. That is the most weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Pretty impressive. But everybody come out. Check Facebook. Come see a show.
I know you're also booked in another where you're going against Nigel in it's Southern Violence, I want to say.
That's kind of a special event. It's a one-time thing in Monroe.
Okay.
That's going to be February 26th.
Okay, that's
Friday
what I thought.
night. It's going to be at a place called Fusions. Okay. It's a bar, and it's 18 and up. Sorry. 18 and up, and it's going to be a uncensored show.
Oh yeah.
The main event, there's going to be a barbed wire death match, but yeah, me and Nigel are going to try to settle things once and for all in an I Quit match. So it's an uncensored environment, a live mic with me and him. You never know what might happen.
Oh my God, that's
you never know
what might happen. I have to come down there and watch that since I'm over 18.
Yeah,
I might have to, because I got enough stuff now. But all right, well, see, that's what I'm saying. I try to get y'all some pub and want to get you out there. I appreciate you coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, guys. You want to check them out. Facebook is, Charles is always promoting the show, and so is Jason, and so is Chris. Really, everybody, really, and that's really nice to have. It's like it's not just doesn't fall on just one person. Everybody is a part of it, so that's really brings it to the forefront. We promised Jeff Mooney and his Rebel blanket could stay in his room, but. To the lounge. But anyway, guys, look, this is me. I'm C-Double, allwrestletalknation.com. This is where you can see the exclusive interview. It will be uploaded tonight. Also, tweet us at AWTNCT or AWTNC2. That's my Twitter handle. Get over it. And, guys, I appreciate y'all coming out, listening, hearing us out.
Matt Riley sucks.
Yes, Matt Riley sucks, whoever that is. So guess what? We love you. God bless. But, and Hall, stop stalking me.